Well, it's not just Congress at stake in today's elections. There are also dozens of governor's races. The outcome could affect every aspect of American life and have a big impact on the 2020 presidential race. Jay Inslee is the governor of Washington State. He's also the chairman of the Democratic Governors Association. He joins me now from Washington, D.C. Governor, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
You bet. So we've seen really record turnout across the country, both at polls, with early voting. What do you think's behind those numbers?
Well, a lot of things. One, people are just kind of fed up of the chaos coming out of the White House. They want to have a check on this president. They want to be heard. They understand what is at stake. They've seen a failure to produce an infrastructure bill. They've seen an attack on their own health care. And so people are voting. So it's a really good day, and they're voting in droves. And they're voting for Democratic governors because it's Democratic governors that can really help take care of our health care, improve our schools, do infrastructure bills so we can fix our roads and bridges and buses. So we're excited about today. I think at the end of the night, I'm feeling confident that over half of Americans will have Democratic governors working for them. So this is a really great day.
Governor, you say it's Democratic governors that can really make a difference. But right now, there are 33 states that have Republican governors. 26 of those have gubernatorial elections today. Why is it that Republicans have had such an advantage? And how is your Democratic group trying to change that?
Well, we're changing it one state at a time, and we're changing it by having candidates who will focus on what's really important to families' lives, like Stacey Abrams in Georgia that can produce 500,000 people to get insurance, health insurance, like Andrew Gillum in Florida who's fighting against the red tide pollution to really take advantage of clean energy jobs, like Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan who's pledged to fix the roads where Donald Trump hasn't built a birdhouse since he's been president. So we're fighting by showing people a vision statement about how to improve their lives, where they live, in things that are most important to them. And it's about getting the job done rather than just arguing about things. We want to unite people. We want to have solutions. We want to move the ball forward, not just have arguments like we're seeing out of the nation's capital right now. And we're doing really well. As I said, I think we're going to win a lot of seats tonight, and I feel good about that.
We spend a lot of time covering House and Senate races, but can you sort of give us a sense, why is the governorship so important?
Well, for the nation, it's important because Democratic governors can stand up and largely stop the gerrymandering that has taken place, which has really crippled the U.S. House of Representatives, the unfair districting that has prevented people from getting a shot at electing a congressperson. Right now, because of this gerrymandering, the politicians pick who your member of Congress is rather than the other way around. Democrat governors can veto bills that are unfair and give people a fair shot. Secondly, this is the place where we can make progress. Look, Donald Trump, for all his tweeting, can't stop Fred Hubbell from adopting a clean energy plan in Iowa, can't stop a Steve Sisolak from doing common sense job creation things in Nevada, can't stop Janet Mills in Maine from doing an apprenticeship program to put people to work. Because states can move, we can control our own destiny, we can move forward, and we know in the foreseeable future that's what we have to do, is move in the states. And third, we can act as a check, a balance on the chaos coming out of Washington, D.C., the Muslim ban, the appeal to racism and division, the effort to have common sense gun safety legislation. We can check some of that chaos to protect America. So a lot is at stake, and there's governor's races, and I'm very confident people are going to pick a lot of Democratic governors tonight.
You mentioned Abrams and Gillum in Georgia and Florida each have a chance to make history by electing their first black governors. Tell us a little bit about the strategy that your organization, the Democratic Governors Association, is trying to put in place there.
Well, we have supported both these candidates. They're so inspirational. If you ever hear them, I was with Stacey Abrams yesterday, and at a rally, and the people, you had to scrape them off the ceiling. They were so excited. Andrew Gillum has been a very effective mayor of Tallahassee. He's a stand-up guy that has a vision for health care. Look, he can get health care for over 800,000 people in Florida, and that's very appealing. That's why he's doing so well, and I believe will do well tonight. Now, these two candidates will make history. First, a duo of black candidates in the South. But you know what Stacey said something yesterday was, I thought, pretty telling. She said, I don't want people to vote for me because I'm black. I don't want them to vote for me because I'm a woman. She said, I want them to vote for me because I'm better. That's a really good reason to vote for both these candidates and Democrats across the country. So we're going to have history in a lot of states today.
We've also been very interested in young voters. We were fascinated by this Harvard poll. It shows that young Democrats are actually more likely to vote than young Republicans. I'm curious what your organization has done to encourage young people to vote. And are you optimistic that more young people will turn to the polls?
Well, we're doing everything we can. I just called a young voter I know who's a neighbor to make sure he got his ballot in. So we're doing everything we can. And we're being very successful because young voters really much are in tune with the vision we're offering the country. Think about climate change. It's really hard to find a climate change denier of people under the age of 35. They understand the science. They understand their futures are at risk. They understand physics and chemistry, and yet you've got a president who calls climate change a hoax. That's one of the reasons Democratic voters, young voters, are turning out in droves this year. They also recognize this as an economic opportunity to get jobs as well. They see their health care threatened by the Republican Party up and down. In the Midwest, the Republicans we've run against almost uniformly have jeopardized people's health care by preventing security against pre-existing conditions. In fact, I've said these Republicans all have a pre-existing condition, and that's their record, of ignoring the health care needs of people. That's one of the reasons we're doing so well in Wisconsin, in Michigan, and Minnesota, and Iowa, and Ohio, and Illinois. Our candidates want to make sure you have insurance, even if you've got a pre-existing condition. We're the only party that can say that. One of the reasons we're going to do well tonight.
You know, something else that we've been watching, your organization has raised more than $100 million this year. That's significantly more than in the past. Did DGA change its fundraising strategy in the lead up to this election?
Well, we have certainly been effective. I'm chair of this organization. I'm pleased that we've increased our donations about 50% during my term, and so we're really happy about that. That's happened not just because the organization has been effective and assertive and optimistic, but fundamentally, it's because people understand they've had a belly full of what's coming out of the White House, and they want to put a check on it. And a way to do that is to elect Democratic governors that will have balance, that will have progressive values, that will move the country forward, and where appropriate, will reach across the aisle, like in Michigan, where we can do that. So we're excited about that, and I can't wait to get the results tonight.
Governor Jay Inslee, grateful you could join us, Governor.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. And our election